Hi, thanks for tuning in and listening to me, Steve Hayes from Element. I wanted to spend the next few minutes just updating you on a few changes to standards that are coming along, which I think are actually relevant for manufacturers, especially for those that are in a longer design cycle where you need to start thinking about emerging requirements now, because likely by the time your product goes to market, these new requirements will be in force and you will have to achieve the standards that incorporate those requirements. So the first one of those is for conducted emissions. So anybody that's familiar with doing EMC measurements, you know that we start at 150 kilohertz and go up to 30 megahertz. No change there. The new requirement that's coming along, however, is the frequency range 9 to 150 kilohertz. We have various different groups at the moment starting to formulate test methods and limits in that frequency range, and we'll see that first occurring in the generic standards, EMC standards, and eventually that will get rolled out to all of the different product standards in due course. So if you're a manufacturer using things like switch mode technology and you've got an AC power cable, then be aware that 9 to 150 kilohertz, or ultimately 9 to 30 megahertz, will be the extended frequency range of measurements going forward. When I'm talking about extended frequency measurements, typically EMC standards stopped at 1 gigahertz. Over the last few years, that then got increased to 6 gigahertz, then 18 gigahertz. But of course, the whole point of doing EMC emissions is to protect radio services. And we can't help but notice that there are more and more radio services above 18 gigahertz these days. Take 5G new radio, for example, millimeter wave bands, ultra wideband technologies, all these sorts of things are starting to use frequencies above 18 gigahertz. So some of the international work now is developing test methods, limits, calibrations and standards for doing measurements above 18 gigahertz. We call it the 18 to 40 gig band. The reality is it might be 43.5 to incorporate the top end of the FR2 frequency range if we're talking about 5G new radio, for example. So again, if you're developing new product that has got some very fast edges, so some very fast microprocessors or technologies in there that have got harmonics that go up the frequency band, be aware that over the next few years, standards will be updated to incorporate that above 18 gigahertz frequency band. Loads of other changes coming along. I won't dwell on those now, but be sure to tune in on our other podcasts and YouTube videos to keep up to date with what those changes are. Thanks for listening.